For centuries, the word Viking has conjured images of fearsome warriors, raiders who plundered across the seas. But who were these enigmatic people beyond the popular myths? The Viking Age spanned from the 8th to the 11th century and was a time of exploration, conquest, and cultural exchange predominantly led by Nordic seafarers. During these centuries, the Vikings set sail from their Scandinavian homelands, reaching as far as North America and even Constantinople in the Mediterranean. Known for their advanced seafaring skills and fearsome reputation as warriors, they were also traders, explorers, and settlers who had a significant impact on the regions they interacted with. Their secret weapon was their skill in boat building, and their advantage in battle was that they were seemingly fearless. Since they believed they would end in Valhalla if they died in battle, this possibility was something the famous Vikings welcomed. Interestingly, not every Nordic individual during this era was a Viking. In fact, the majority of the people were farmers, living a relatively peaceful life, cultivating the land and raising livestock. The term Viking was specifically used to denote individuals who embarked on overseas expeditions, usually for trading or raiding. The perception of the Vikings as cruel raiders comes in part from their initial interaction with other cultures, but over time, they established trade routes, intermarried with local populations, and even adopted local customs and religions. Thus, the Viking Age was not just about invasion and plunder, but also about exploration, trade, and cultural exchange. Let's now turn our attention to the 5 most famous Vikings in history, each renowned in their own right. Leif Erikson, also known as Leif the Lucky, hails from Iceland and was a game changer when it came to exploration. Born around 970, Erikson was the son of Erik the Red, another formidable figure among the Vikings, and the first Viking to settle on Greenland. But Leif Erikson's claim to fame is not reliant on his father's reputation. He made a significant mark in history as the first European to ever set foot on American soil, predating Christopher Columbus by a few centuries. Erikson's monumental journey led him to establish a Norse settlement, famously referred to as Vinland, on North America's coast. His exploits have made him a staple in Viking history and propelled him to become one of the most distinguished Vikings in Scandinavia and beyond. Leif Erikson's legacy of exploration and settlement paints a picture of the Vikings as not merely raiders, but also enterprising explorers, significantly influencing our understanding of the Viking era. Harald Fairhair, or Harald Fairhair, as he is known in Norwegian, is another key figure in Viking history and the most famous Viking amongst Norwegians. Born around 850, Fairhair is known for being the first king in Norway, implying he was king over parts of the country, a noteworthy distinction during fragmented times. Harald Fairhair's story brims with romance, bravery, and political intrigue. As the legend he is, his journey to kingship began with a refusal from a woman he sought to marry, Princess Gyda, that would only marry him if he became king of all Norway. Taking this challenge to heart, Harald vowed not to cut or comb his hair until he achieved this feat, earning him the nickname Fairhair. Through a combination of strategic marriages, alliances, and victories in battle, Fairhair gradually expanded his rule over various Norwegian Viking tribes. Once he successfully united Norway, Harald finally had his long, tangled hair cut and combed, hence the name Fairhair. However, Harald Fairhair's legacy extends beyond his personal grooming habits. As the first king in Norway, he laid the groundwork for the nation-state's existence, shaping its early political and cultural identity. Erik the Red is another contender for the title of most famous Viking. But unlike the noble King Harald, Erik's claim to fame was a little less orthodox. Known as the founder of the first permanent European settlement in Greenland and the father of the famed explorer Leif Erikson, Erik's life was one of adventure, controversy, and resilience. Erik was born in Norway, but due to a series of violent disputes, he and his family were exiled from their home. They moved to Iceland, where unfortunately, Erik's hot temper and flexibility with the law got him into trouble again, leading to another exile. Erik sailed off into the unknown, landing in a place he gallantly named Greenland. Though the name may seem misleading, given the island's icy landscape, it's believed that Erik chose the name as a marketing ploy to encourage more settlers to join him. It is not confirmed that Erik was the man who named Greenland, but it is widely believed in Scandinavia. Also, Erik the Red didn't earn his name because of any fondness for the color, but rather due to his fiery red hair and beard. Some also suggest his nickname could reflect his fiery temper, which often got him into bloody battles and trouble. His son, Leif Erikson, was a chip off the old block and followed his father's footsteps to become one of the first Europeans to set foot on North American soil. When it comes to famous Vikings, Gange-Rolv is a name that stirs up many myths and tales. Known to be the same person as Rollo of Normandy, he is shrouded in mystery, but his impact on Viking and medieval history is undeniable. Gange-Rolv was a legendary Norseman whose presence commanded respect and perhaps a little fear. His nickname Gange-Rolv literally translates to walk Rolf in Old Norse, highlighting his preference for walking over riding due to his tremendous size. Some say it is because his legs would still touch the ground when mounted on a horse, so even when he was riding, he was still walking. One oft-told tale about Gange-Rolv is of his encounter with Harald Fairhair, the first king of Norway. It is said that Harald had made a vow not to cut or comb his hair until he had conquered all of Norway, leaving his hair in a state of wild tangles. Gange-Rolv, being the earl, took on the task of slicing through Harald's unkempt locks. It is believed that Gange-Rolv was Norwegian, from the northwestern area of Sunnmøre, around Ålesund. But the most intriguing part of Gange-Rolv's story is the belief that he was the same person as Rollo of Normandy. Rollo was a Viking chieftain who became the first ruler of Normandy, a region in modern-day France. The ties between Gange-Rolv and Rollo have been a subject of debate among historians, with some speculating they were the same person while others contend they were two distinct individuals. Ragnar Lothbrok is considered one of the most famous Vikings in history, well known amongst Viking enthusiasts and in the imagination of readers and scholars alike. Often depicted as a fearless Viking warrior and king, Ragnar is renowned for his daring exploits and adventures. His name is closely associated with several major raids on Francia and Anglo-Saxon England during the Viking Age. His tales of bravery in battle and his thirst for exploration have become synonymous with the Vikings' spirit. However, the line between historical fact and folklore is somewhat blurry when it comes to Ragnar. While his existence as a historical figure is a matter of some debate among historians, there's no denying the influence of his legend. His stories have inspired countless works of literature, drama, and even television series, and his children, said to include renowned Vikings like Ivar the Boneless, Bjorn Ironside, and Sigurd Snake in the Eye, also play a significant role in Norse sagas, further solidifying the Lothbrok legacy. Their exploits, like those of their father, are etched into the annals of Viking history. Whether or not Ragnar Lothbrok was a real person, the stories about him and his kin continue to fascinate us. They offer a unique insight into the Viking era, a time of exploration, conquest, and cultural exchange.